Hello again, all of you wonderful essential workers. Rachel DeConing here again. As a reminder, I work at Renew's intensive outpatient program for anxiety, and I'm going to bring you another tip today to help you with any anxiety you might be experiencing around the pandemic that is continuing, or just anything else that is creating anxiety for you. So this is one of my favorite techniques. I use this myself all the time. And it's just a little statement that you can add to any uncomfortable or negative thought that is going to help defuse that thought. So it's not going to completely get rid of it, but it's going to help take some of the power away from it. Okay, so the statement is, and you might want to write this down, so grab a pad of paper, or if you have a really good memory, that works too. So the statement is, I'm having the thought that blank, and you fill it in with your thought, and then you say, that may or may not be true, I really don't know, and I don't need to know. Now this is a kind of tricky for our brain to comprehend because we always think we need to know things. That's our brain's way of kind of protecting us, to predict the future so that we don't get disappointed. But as you all know, the future is unpredictable. Life is unpredictable and oftentimes not in our control. So when we add that statement to a thought, we're kind of bringing ourselves back to reality, that our thoughts are just thoughts and they are not truth. They may or may not be true. We really don't know. And we don't need to know. And the reason that we don't need to know whether a thought is true or false is because all we really need to know is if a thought is helpful. We try not to rely on our thoughts to predict our behavior. We try to rely on our values to predict behavior. So for example, if I have a thought of this pandemic will never end, I could add that statement to it, and I'm going to say something along the lines of, I'm having the thought that this pandemic isn't going to end. That may or may not be true. I really don't know, and I don't need to know, because it's not going to change how I behave. You know, if I'm a healthcare worker, or in my case, a mental health professional, when this pandemic ends isn't going to change how I treat my clients, or how hard I work, or my values around my work ethic. And so it's just a really nice reminder for our brain to detach with those thoughts and feeling that need to know something, and it redirects us back to what we really have control over, which is our values and the present moment, and facts. So again, the statement is, I'm having the thought that blank, that may or may not be true, I really don't know, and I don't need to know. And you'll want to say that a number of times until you kind of go up and down the worry hill, and until you feel like you're appropriately defused from that thought, and then you want to redirect to something that's more in your control and in your values, something that's more present that you're doing in the moment, whether that's just spending time with your family, or maybe you're working with your students or your clients, or whatever it is, and just being present with that. But again, that diffusion technique I think will be really helpful. And remember, you can use it with anything. It can be, I don't think this person likes me, or I look fat, or it can be anything. It doesn't even have to do with the pandemic. You can add that statement to it. It's going to help you defuse and refocus on what you actually have control over in the present moment. So I hope this helps.